All right, here we are in the first game of this best of three series, which is the loser brackets final for the Alpha Navigators Cup weekly number 23. And starring in this losers bracket final, we have TheoRy in the top right here as the blue Infernal. And his Infernal opponent is msrm in the red Infernal in the bottom left. And we are here on Broken Crown. We've got a Conclave opening into a vault, and looks like maybe the same thing, Conclave vault over here. Little scouties. I didn't see if there's hexen on hexen violence this game. There probably was. It's not clear. Yeah, it looks like a couple pot shots at TheoRy. His shroud skin is a little bit less. And a couple of hokey pokies. Both of them do their dances and zot back home. Okay, msrm, we saw this in his matches against Snockstar, doing the high ground creeping here. Just sort of making these Shadow Mastiffs glitch out a little bit and getting that DPS for free, no micro needed. And TheoRy, both of them opening Conclave first, so both starting to creep with their gaunts. There's a follow-up vault there, but yeah, there's a brute coming out. And likewise here, do we see a brute? Yes. Brute's already on his way. Perhaps I should say their way. They have two heads, so it kind of makes sense. But the creeping here from msrm, he's added two more gaunts. And TheoRy also adding... Oh, no, wait. Those were fiends running by there. There's two gaunts. Okay, so they both deciding to add that second pair of gaunts, and I think this is pretty standard. You can cut your gaunts maybe a little earlier to try and save up Therium for your upgrades. But, you know, no Ritual Chamber down yet for either of them. And it looks like there's going to be a little bit of conflict here out at the Vision Camp. And so far, TheoRy's got on top of one of the Shadow Demons and managing to take it out, while msrm is trying to get in on the second one. TheoRy instead managing to get a surround on it, and it's not clear who's going to get that last kill there. And not really committing to a full engage yet from either of them, although msrm turns to fight when his second brute shows up, but after losing it, he decides to retreat. And TheoRy instead focuses on that effigy to take it out. And it looks like 6 gaunts here, 6 gaunts here, but just a bunch more brutes. Actually, 8 gaunts here. There's a single fiend that's coming in to block, which actually doing a lot of kind of damage here in terms of just keeping that imp away from putting down the shrine. Now getting a full scout out, seeing the ritual chamber in the back, and do we have any plague axes yet? Not on the way. This camp had been taken as well, so the hex is going to reclaim it. And we now see some brutes pumped out here. Not clear exactly what the idea is. There's no plague axes yet. Is there a ritual chamber? No, there's a tier 2. Greater Shrine, not quite done yet. And TheoRy's taking out these Shadow Demons. And it looked like msrm was going to try and do that, but maybe noticed that TheoRy got to it before him and is now retreating back. TheoRy instead looks like going for some aggression. And did he get Plague Axes out yet? No, it doesn't look like it. Are they still on the way? Almost done. So TheoRy's idea here is to do a Plague Axe timing. He's going to steal the speed camp, use the speedy legs to run up onto the high ground, and a couple of fiends just zooping right in there. And an effigy going down, but also there is a Manifest Shroudstone out of msrm. This might be the secret to defending it. So far, all that DPS is being focused on the Shroudstone, and TheoRy has to pull back. He's trying to keep his gaunts on the creep, or on the Shroud, sorry, so that he can get the Infest out. There's a lot of brutes here. And the brutes are pushing those gaunts back. A single brute arrives for TheoRy, which is allowing to give him a little bit of a front line too. And a couple leg spikes there make it a little hard to follow, but Theory's units, a single brute kind of the front line, but he's got a lot of gaunts, and they got the plague axes. Do we have plague axes yet? Not yet. Oh, geez. Is it on the way? Yes, it is. A lot of lag here again, and I apologize for that. So Theory is... he's continuing to push here. I do think msrm has got a good force, but it's just that Theory did not commit to the shrine yet. He's kind of all in here. And he is getting on top of what was a Therium line here. There are no imps here to target. There's one kind of waiting out in the back here. And it looks like we now have ritual, or sorry, plague axes for both sides, but we've got kind of a soft surround from Theory on all these gaunts. And they're going to go down. There are feeds from msrm as well, but yeah, they're going to get cleaned up, and the force is pretty big here now. Okay, 4 gaunts come out from the high ground, but there are 8 gaunts on the low ground, as well as these fiends from Theory. So that's certainly a mismatch. Any damage that can be done, though, of course, is going to be welcomed. They're going to try and microwave their way out, but the plague axes get on top of them. The fiends get on top of them. They are now in full retreat, and now we've got plague axes on top of imps. We've got fiends trying to focus down that shroud stone. The gaunts of msrm get back in it, but they're just not able to do any damage. A single Meg shows up, and this is sometimes the winner, the hero. He managed to get a lot of good tramples on some of those fiends, but the fiends were pulled back by Theory. That's going to be a GG from msrm. Alright, here we are in game 2. Theory in your blue Infernal here, opening with a vault, was the winner of the first game. And his opponent... And the lag is not letting me click on the mini-map for some reason. Or maybe I have that bug. I don't think I can click, but I can scroll. Oh, I clicked, it worked. Can it work now? Okay, somehow I fixed it. I can now click on the minimap. So we have msrm here up in the red Infernal. He opened with a vault as well, and he's got a conclave a little further away. We got an imp out here, did some lumberjacking. Theory's imps love lumberjacking. We had a cabbage steal here from msrm, and this imp is being harassed pretty hard by the Hexen. Now, why did she stop shooting? Oh, because he's trying to stop it from being able to put down a building. If you're too close, you can stop it from putting down the building. And she's trying to stop him from putting down that farm while also trying to kill him. But the farm does get down. And Theory's Hexen was coming to help, but didn't need to. Pardon me, I had to take a glass of water, a drink of water there. Okay, so we got some creeping here from Theory on his speed camp. Likewise from msrm, although msrm's got some gaunts out already. Theory does not. And is that because Theory... yeah, Theory went for Vault Shrine instead of Vault Conclave, which is what we see from msrm. Sort of almost the opposite from last game, although I don't think msrm went that quick a shrine, but he did go Expo. And it was Theory who went kind of all in, and was successful with that all in. So that was an interesting move there. If you saw what happened, he aggroed them, ran his fiends out so all of the slimes would target on the Felhog, and then brought them back in. And that's just a way to make sure that your Felhogs are tanking. And making sure that you can maximize the life of your non-Felhog units. Felhogs, they're temporary, you can't move them. They just sit there. They're good for defense. And in that case, just a little bit of DPS as well. It looks like msrm's force is pretty big here. And Theory, who has focused on eco to open, has a much smaller force. So if there is some aggression coming out of msrm, we could be in trouble for Theory. And we do see fiends coming here. But msrm has moved his units, is always going to take this camp. This camp looks like it's a little too strong for me. I wouldn't take it with this army, but I am not a pro, so I don't, I don't have these things figured out yet. Again, Theory's army looking considerably smaller than msrm's. msrm's got that micro, so he can micro his units a little better here. Interesting micro. So managing to keep that one brute alive, even though he's got quite low health. What's he at? 10. And it looks like Fiend's running by. Yeah, Fiend's running by, but there are Speed Fiends here. Speed Fiends are faster than just regular, normal Fiends. So again, msrm's force was looking bigger, but he kind of sacked a couple brutes on this camp, which is now actually being captured back by Theory with a single Fiend. And Theory, now is Theory, I hope Theory's not thinking of being aggressive here. He played an eco build, so you'd think he'd maybe sit back a little bit until he can take some of the benefit of that eco build. He does have a ritual chamber up. I don't see plague axes, but that doesn't mean they're not done. Yeah, they're not started, it looks like. And on the other side, we have msrm with a fairly large gaunt count. He has put up his second base as well, but at the more standard natural. And it looks like Theory's going for a third at his more standard natural as well. I have seen Theory in the past go for this double Therium as his sort of third base. Given that you have a plenty of Luminite income here from these two mines. Looks like some Fiends trying to claim on both sides. Theory sending out a Skull of Shedda to do some claiming as well. Looks like a couple Scout Fiends. Or a single Scout Fiend and then 3, I'm not sure. Maybe Scout, maybe Harass. Kind of a pretty small force. Now, where are you going? This is a weird place to go. Okay, and now msrm's trying to recapture the Vision Camp. This is a lot of camp fighting right now. Just sort of a smaller part of the meta. Who can control the camps? Who can get that extra income? Okay, these Fiends are trying to get on top of this army. Theory's army still looking kind of small. And msrm's army is definitely going to have the advantage here. Theory deciding to turn and fight, though. Thinking he's got the advantage with the Plague Axe, maybe. But I think both have Plague Axes up. So this is not a good fight for Theory to take. And he's now retreating. Some of his units, unfortunately, having to turn to fight because these Fiends are catching them in surround. And Theory now does have a single mag, and those mags can be the heroes when it comes to defending an attack like this. And get some leg spikes here, unfortunately. Okay, so not really a battle there, per se. A couple skirmishes, shots fired, but the mag was kind of enough to zone msrm back. Deciding not wanting to get trampled by an angry Magmadon, ridden by a not quite as angry imp. There you are, buddy. Nice goggles. And now msrm is pushing in, so I'm not sure what made him change his mind, but maybe he's just trying to rotate around and see if he can find some weakness to punch in, kill some, imps, kill a building or two, and then get out. But he's in retreat. And this might be because, as we see here, Theory is like cleaning up his camp. Maybe msrm's decided, oh, my camps have refreshed. I need those boosts. I'm going to go back and get them. But in so doing, he's actually kind of giving Theory a slight advantage, which is Theory can get back to his camps quicker because he was already on his side of the map, using his mag to knock down a bunch of trees. And so now msrm has cleaned out his speed camp. Going back to Vision next, it looks like, while Theory's taking down his health camp. And this camp is just about to respawn itself. So this might be testament to the different orders that they cleared the camp in the first time. But msrm also going to be putting down his Therium base here while he clears out the Vision camp. And they're kind of matching each other. It's hard to tell without like an income tab or resources gathered indicator. But I do think that Theory does kind of have the advantage in terms of eco. He's also got up to Reaper's Rush. Is that also true? Yeah, they both have Reaper's Rush now. But yeah, I think Theory may have just had a slight eco advantage because his bases were up a little earlier in the early game. And, you know, they both have gone for that double Therium now. Although, again, we see Theory just being slightly ahead. Does that translate into, you know, more army, more bank? It looks like msrm is banking a lot of Luminite right now. I wonder if that's because he's hoping to just get Ethereum to help him spend it. Although he has got a pretty good bank of Ethereum as well. So an interesting play here to smash down all these trees. This is something I have seen before out of players, to just shorten the like march distance between certain parts of the map. But yeah, it looks like he came to do a little posturing, saying, hey, I'm here. You know, do you want to fight? And then actually, no, I don't want to fight. I'm going to go home. So again, a little indecisive here, a little posturing, back and forth. Theory's units just camping. A lot of production added for Theory. Some more being added as well. He does have a Hellforge, which is going for that Soulforge Ascendance right now. So that's that Brute upgrade. A little bit late in the game to get it, but if you got a bunch of Brutes in your army, might as well have that upgrade. Remember, that's going to give them plus 10 armor, or 10 armor. They normally have 0 armor, which makes them quite a bit tankier. And then they also, when they split, they're going to split into 3 Fiends instead of 2, which I honestly think is a great advantage. Makes me want to get Soulforge Ascendance right away all the time, but then that makes me want to have lots of Brutes. Brutes aren't always the best composition. A Nightfall Infestation going down and catching some of Theory's Gaunts. Although with that Reaper's Rush, they're still kind of speedy and they managed to kind of rush away. But Theory's getting chased down here, and I don't think he really wants that. I think he wants to turn a fight. And when he does, msrm retreat back. I think maybe the reason he wasn't turning to fight was he saw those Weavers, but he's only got a single mag. So it's not too bad. Their supplies are actually pretty close together. So Theory with a slight lead, but at this size, it's not clear if that lead is really an advantage. You know, it could be in workers. It could be, you know, in units that are back at the base, it's still rallying, things like that. Now we've got Hellborn, a couple, it looks like 4 mags out of msrm. And it's now a ton of Weavers being added to Theory. So his army is largely just tier 1, but with Weavers. We see some of those lashes going down. There's more Weavers on the side of Theory. And now it's just a smash of Brutes and Gaunts in the middle here. Not really any effigies going down, although there are some kind of off on the side of this battle. That means not as much Infest is going to be showing up. But it looks like, even though there's a dragon on the side of msrm here, the tide seems to be turning in the favor of Theory. I say that, but Theory's supply has gone down quite a bit more. Maybe that means msrm is reinforcing better in behind this. It's hard to see why he keeps losing. Oh, I see why. That's where he's losing his supply. There was a Gaunt force down in the back, doing a lot of damage, and now there's Fiends and Gaunts actually in the back here. I'm like, where's that supply going? It's actually he's losing all these imps. No, 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 no. He didn't want to, and now he is. He's losing a bunch more. He's managed to get his units to come back here. So this was not great for TheoRy, taking a huge supply deficit as a result of that. Losing so many. Now, part of that, I think, is that these Gaunts created a ton of supply for msrm by killing those imps and making a bunch of Fiends. But yeah, this was cleaned up, but at what cost? I think, oh, it says there's 13 there, so that's a lot of imps, but it looks like there's just a whole bunch that just rallied down there. Okay, this base is still really mined. So maybe the benefit for TheoRy is that he did have some pretty fully saturated, well-mining bases before that damage was taken. And he's doing okay at recovering his supply. But msrm is still also resupplying behind. And yeah, it has a pretty nasty force here. Hellborns, Mags, Gaunts, Weavers, a ton of Shadow Flyers to deal with the dragon. But yeah, TheoRy's still trying to just catch back up in that supply. His force here also looking pretty devastating, but it's just a lot more Gaunts. So trying to commit to the Gaunts. That's sort of the bulk of the core of his army. Whereas we've got a lot more Hellborn, a lot more high-tech units over here for msrm. And we'll see how that works out. Now we got that fireball sound is actually pretty loud there. We saw when they all fire off at the same time. That's one of the bugs that came in with the new audio. Hopefully they fix that up. Although I do like a lot of the new sounds. And especially a lot of the new graphic effects. Okay, so this army looks like it's moving out to maybe do some creeping, but a ton of Fiends are running by. And they're having trouble getting up the ramp because of these Fellhogs. I love that. I never even thought about that. It's sort of like this soft block. But they did manage to get up there, and they are killing some imps. But msrm has rallied a few units over here to try and take them up while he's creeping down below. And the Fiends of TheoRy just trying to get any damage done, but when they're fighting Fellhogs like this, I don't ever think that that's good. You can focus fire them on the farm instead, and they'll take out the farm. And msrm's units look like are going to be able to clean this up, but maybe that's not his biggest problem right now, as all of TheoRy's army is on top of this base that's just going down. And actually, now that I mentioned it, the same thing was happening down below there. So both of them, this might turn into a base trade, because TheoRy's now going for this fourth, while msrm is saying, fine, I'm just going to push right into your natural, where there are 23 imps on this base. This is not good, because oh no, 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 this is looking really bad. If they all go down, there are zero now. Look at all those blood and guts down there. I don't think they all spawned into Fiends. I didn't see the Fiends come off them, but yeah, that was devastating. And this base goes down. TheoRy's trying to come back to protect it. But msrm just retreats, gets into a better position to attack, and is now trying to get a good concave or surround on these. There's just so many Fiends here that they're chasing down these Gaunts. All these Gaunts infested due to the dragon. They're trying to get in these speedy legs. I don't know what that's going to gain them. Maybe you can run away faster. But msrm maybe going for a retreat or a rotate. It's hard to clear. Hard to see, sorry. Oh, and a huge leg spike's coming in again. And look at those fireballs. I love that fireball effect, especially when it's on my opponent's units. And oh, huge! Oh, look at how many Fiends just arrived. The Magmadon stomped through, killing so many units. It looks like msrm's got the advantage here, actually. Look at those fireballs coming down. Again, love to see it, although we do have some Hellborn for Theory now, too. It's really hard to see, because now it looks like Fiends are... Yeah, Fiends are starting to show up for Theory, and the tide is starting to turn maybe in Theory's advantage. So many Hellborn. They get those shots off, but they attack so slow, and they look like they're starting to get surrounded here. Well, they're not going down. They're managing to get so many shots off. I didn't realize they were quite so tanky. And that's giving time for Fiends to spawn. And now, well, almost all the Hellborn are down, but it looks like reinforcements are showing up, including a Mag. There's still the dragon in the sky, and the dragon's super devastating, and look how many Fiends it's created. So chasing Theory all the way back to the sort of safety confines of his speed camp. But it's no healing camp, and there is a Magmadon there. The Hellborn, there's one Hellborn doing some serious damage to all these Fiends, but how long can that Hellborn stay up? More reinforcements for msrm coming in, and that's a GG from Theory. I'm so sorry, everybody. Alright, here we are back in. And already we have some creeping coming from msrm. Same thing going for Theory. Both of them got a Brute using for their creep. We got an Imp here, just watching, not shooting any fireballs in, but probably getting ready to drop down. Yeah, there we have a Expo for Theory. And msrm not going for the Expo yet. Instead, continuing creeping and maybe is thinking aggression here. At this point, again, this is game 3, so everything's on the line here. And Theory, what's he doing? He's creeping as well. Okay, both are on their vision cam. Although msrm with the advantage, just because. Oh, and he went out looking for that cabbage, and there was no cabbage. Theory had already eaten the cabbage. And is he going to get here in time to cause some havoc on this? No, it doesn't look like. The Fiend's trying to run by, maybe just trying to get a scout, but these Fiends from Theory actually doing a pretty good job to body block. But with the little deke, msrm gets inside, sees, oh wait, there's a shrine here. Oh, and you're now just putting down your conclave. Now, for him, he does have a base going down as well, but no ritual chamber. I think if you see that and you have your ritual chamber already up and you got some plague X's going, you might just say, I'm moving out, I'm pushing out. But without the plague X, well, I mean, it looks like he still might be pushing out. These Fiends, I don't think this is going to go well for msrm, so yeah, he disengages. And yeah, it was just 1 or 2 extra Fiends for Theory there. It looked like it wasn't going to be a great trade. But nonetheless, msrm's army has showed up, and they're getting ready to actually move up this ramp. A lot of brutes up here. And going for an imp or two, getting an imp kill. I like it. And now maybe go for a toe-to-toe battle, but you don't really want to do that in the healing camp. It's brutes on brutes, but there are gaunts in the back for msrm. There is now a summon Shroud Zone, and yeah, immediately msrm decides to get out of there, or at least get out of range of the Shroud Stone, but manages to kill a couple more brutes, turning to fight. So maybe not finishing the game there, but managed to get some pretty okay damage. Killing an imp or two, killing a brute or two, and forcing the manifest Shroud Stone. Although I'm not super sure forcing the Shroud Stone can really be counted as damage. You only spend Animus. And of course that Shroud Stone's permanently there afterwards. You can gonna keep helping. A few Fiends try and come in and do some, or be annoying, but they instead just get chased away. And this is msrm trying to just kind of creep out some of the camps on Theory's side of the map. Again, trying to use that that map advantage that he's gained by being a little bit extra aggressive at the beginning of the game. Now Theory's got a mag out. So this seems to be one of the strats that you can do as Infernal if you don't want to go heavy into that early game army and do early game aggression. You go fast into tier 2, try and get a Magmadon out so that you can defend against any such hard, early aggression. Third base already going down for MSRM. This base already pretty fully saturated. This one is fully saturated. 5 workers on Therium. And creeping resource camp, yes. Theory just looks like moving down to get the Therium camp here, having recaptured the Luminite camp that msrm captured earlier. And that single mag, I kind of like to use my mag to tank those guys because he's tough enough to take the hits from the bruiser. What are these guys called again? Pipers. Okay, they're pipers. They have a giant pipe in their hand, so they're pipers. But yeah, it's more of a macro game this game. Both players, creeping camps. Teching a bit, so Ritual Chamber, we don't see any upgrades on it right now. That might mean Plague Axes are already done. We have Hellforge coming down. Let's check on those. No, actually no Plague Axes yet, so we can keep an eye there. It is started. And do we have a Plague Axes as well? Oh, that looks like Reaper's Rush to me. Yes, so Plague Axe is already done for Theory. Reaper's Rush on the way. But Theory a little bit slower on his eco. So faster on the upgrade, slower on the eco. In the short term, that could be an advantage, but in the long term, that's a disadvantage. And he's out creeping with his Plague Axes. Probably not really knowing that he has that advantage right now. And it won't be for long because Plague Axes are now done and Reaper's Rush is just started for MSRM and it's just finishing for Theory. So that's just a very narrow window to try and get something done with Reaper's Rush. And Reaper's Rush is just not, you know, as helpful an advantage in battles. It's great to be able to chase people down, but the Plague Axes definitely give you that one up that might help you win the battles. Some Fiends here, but they get caught by some of Theory's Fiends. And Theory's pushing that Shroud forward. That tells me that he might be, we're seeing Weavers being added now, that he might be going for a Weaver play. Because that just allows him to move those Weavers to the front line and all that quicker. Some Fiends running by here, trying to get some kills on some Imps. The Imps turn to fight. One Imp's going down. We got Nightfall Infestation. But Theory's army comes up here to try and clean it up. Meanwhile, MSRM's army is coming around the bend. But being indecisive. Not sure if he wants to fully commit right off the bat here. Maybe just waiting for that Reaper's Rush to finish, which it's about to. And now we can see MSRM, yes, is indeed pushing. And spend some time on an effigy, which I don't think that's great. You know, it slowed him down a bit, and we see Theory just summon another one. And that's maybe part of the challenge of doing an A move is your units are going to stop and attack effigies and things like that along the way. Whereas if you move command, which is often the wrong choice, you can move past that and move right in. Okay, MSRM's army is a wee bit larger than Theory's, and I think that both of them are just a little they're playing a little more defensive, a little more conservative this game, just because it is the final game of the match. You know, the last time that they're going to be able to push forward into that winner or the grand final, Knock Star. So they don't really want to just overcommit and lose everything and then throw the game. Now here we have an interesting play. TheoRy using his Harbinger to put some Shroud down, but then deciding to retreat. msrm. Kind of his army's a little bit split up awkwardly, and again, so sorry for all these leg spikes here today. Just super slow. A couple Weavers lash in, but they're starting to get surrounded. It looks like their strategy was a mistake. And trying to engage around those trees. We saw TheoRy take out some of those trees before. But it's meaning the msrm's army is getting split into these awkward chunks. And I'm not sure that that means he's getting the victory that he wants to. Looks like now he's decided, okay, I'm going to push some of my army up to the high ground here and try and take out your base, while the rest of my army I'm going to use to engage. Those Magmadons getting some really nice stomps in, actually. But again, it's still not super clear, because half of his army's fighting buildings, the other half of his army's engaged. I'm not sure if msrm's going to be able to make this into something useful. We've got a teleport going down here, so we're going to have some Weavers showing up. One of them immediately gets sniped. And now those Mags again coming out here on top of those Gaunts. Oh, wow. Getting out there. Now you don't really want this. Half your Gaunts are separated away by a Magmadon. And your reinforcement Gaunts are also running into Magmadons down over on the left. Although it looks like msrm has added Magmadons of his own. So it's very interesting tech choices. Magmadons are often considered to be less useful these days because Weavers are so good against them. But both players opting more for a little bit of a Magmadon play. Dragon being added by TheoRy. That could be the unit that turns the tails. Although a Dragon also out of msrm. Oh, excuse me. So it's Dragon on Dragon, but TheoRy's army is just considerably bigger, and msrm is kind of being pretty brave to push into it. And I guess his bravery left him. He's now trying to full retreat, but he's being chased down by Reaper's Rush Gaunts and some Fiends, not to mention the Dragon flying above. And the Dragon gets his Plague Breath down. And msrm turns to try and fight, but these Magmadons push a lot of his melee units back, managing to do away with the Brutes, and it looks like it's just going to be Mags on top of Gaunts. There's a single Dragon here. Shadow Flyers skirting away. I think they managed to kill the msrm's Dragon. Now it's TheoRy with a huge advantage, and that's a GG out of msrm, and that's the end of the losers bracket finals.